Hello, besties, and welcome back to the third episode of my podcast, The Digital Detour, where I talk one of my friends through things going on online. And today we're back with Lauren.
Hello. I was on episode 1, if you forgot me already. Glad to be back.
And most of what's on my For You page right now, not great. It's either like, oh my God, hold on, my nose is running. It's either like election content or what we're talking about today, or after last week, One Direction. So,
yeah,
I would honestly rather die than give my commentary on the election on my podcast, I think. So, today we're not doing anything serious, a lot less serious than the last couple, thankfully. Today we're going to talk through the Costco Guys and the Rizzlers.
That's what it is, the Costco Guys. I feel so left out when my classmates talk about stuff on TikTok.
Oh, you've heard about it?
I've heard the Costco Guys, like that name. That's all I've heard. And I know it's 2 guys.
So AJ and Big Justice, the Costco Guys, are a father-son TikTok duo. AJ is the dad and Big Justice is the son. AJ was a professional wrestler and named his son Eric after his wrestler persona, Eric Justice. So the son is Big Justice after, like, the wrestler.
Okay.
And they blew up on TikTok when they did, like, food court reviews. And they got nicknamed the Costco Guys. And if something was good, they would go, boom.
You already know what I'm going to do.
Oh.
Or if it was bad, they would go, doom.
Boom or doom?
Yeah.
Okay, pretty simple.
So then they see this kid nicknamed the Rizzler on TikTok, and they reach out to meet. And
little crossover episode.
yeah, they're like doing their collab channel right now, essentially.
Do they live in the same state?
So AJ and Big Justice lived in Florida and traveled up to New Jersey to meet this kid, the Rizzler. Christian is his name. And his dad would like take videos of him doing you could call it the Riz face. It's like a handsome Squidward face where he like squints and strokes his chin. He would make the face in early videos and his dad would go, the Rizzler. And that's literally how he got attention. And then he gained popularity, blew up on TikTok after these videos of him just like running around his house in a Black Panther costume. But this Big Justice kid was apparently a fan of him. So the dad like reached out and now they collab all the time.
That is modern day like friend crushing. Being like, oh, I want to collaborate with this TikToker. I'm a TikToker. Let's make TikToks together.
Hold on. You gotta hear this song. I'll edit it in.
Oh gosh. Who is that?
I don't know. They've got like this whole extended family universe.
Right.
Yeah. They've got the mom and then the sister Ashley and cousin Angelo.
And how many views does this have?
This video?
Yeah. 500,000 almost. Oh my God. I've heard that clip with like just the Rizzlers lines, and I know that people do that one dance where they like put their hands in a circle and they like pretend to hump the air.
Oh, yeah.
That dance move. So like people do dances to this one 7-year-old or however old he is. 8-year-old?
It says he's a 3rd grader online, so 7 or 8, yeah.
Yeah. I think honestly, his part's my favorite.
He's got a more natural like flow than anyone else in the song. I'm not even gonna lie.
I mean, the dad was like full on faking it.
Yeah, the dad was lip syncing.
Yeah,
and his part was literally just to scream.
And he did a bad job.
Boom! That's all he had to say.
And what does that mean?
I don't know.
Like, is the boom after they eat Costco food?
Yeah. That's
like when they're in the in the bathroom.
If it's good, they go boo. Oh,
I was making a poop joke.
Yeah, I gathered that. Yeah. But then they went on, these two and the Rizzler went on Jimmy Fallon, like this week. Did you see it?
No.
Oh, well.
I didn't even know about this kid. I only heard his voice like from people's dance videos. The dad takes roids.
Oh, the dad's so roided up. He looks like he's got roid rage all the time.
Probably road rage too.
And then they were, during the football game, people were talking about this interview and they were making fun because Big Justice at one point goes, "Ready, guys? Like 5 big booms. 5 big booms.
Okay. Boom. Okay. Yeah, boom. Yeah, 5 booms. Yeah. Okay.
He's so sick of it. He can't believe they even got these people on the show. He's like, "Okay, we get it. You bring the boom. We get it."
I mean, to be honest, the Costco combo, whatever their name is, Costco Bros.
Yeah, AJ and Big Justice,
I
the
feel
Costco
like
guys.
Their dynamic is one thing that's gonna die like really soon, but the Rizzler, I don't know. He's kind of got like a star quality to him. It might have been like the Riz face or something that got me, but honestly, if he like started making songs for kids, I feel like he would do really well.
That's a lot of personality in an 8-year-old kid.
Mm-hmm. And you know that one YouTuber that like plays with toys? He's like
Ryan's Toy Box?
Yes. Yeah. And he has like millions and millions of subscribers. I feel like he could be.
Oh, yeah.
But at the same time, then you have to think about what that does to a kid with all of that attention. Like that definitely messes them up. I wouldn't want that for if I had a kid.
You know, speaking of last week we talked about Liam Payne and what happened with that. I don't know if you were there for that, but for those of you who were, a couple of you requested a little bit of like One Direction backstory.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, feel free to leave your requests in the comments on Spotify or YouTube. I will take them.
Were you a 1D fan in middle school?
I wasn't. I was actually pretty deep in my like, not like the other girls phase.
Right.
When One Direction was popular.
You say pink, we say black. You say Bieber, we say beer sack. You say emo, we say fallen angel. You say pop, we say rock.
I did like their songs, but I like didn't want to admit I thought any of them were like cute to myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I was the same way, but I think I still like had my favorites, if you know what I mean.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like, not gonna lie, I could care less about Niall and Liam, but they were my least favorite, looks-wise. But, like, I think as a group, I wasn't super invested. Like, I know some people were. I think almost, like, the people in, like, maybe the 3 or 4 grades above us maybe were more obsessed with them.
Yeah, people closer to their age.
Yeah, because I feel like our age, at least with my experience, people our age and then the grades below us didn't really get into them as much because I don't know. I just didn't experience it that much. I could be completely wrong, but I didn't feel like my grade was super obsessed with them.
I thought Louis was cute.
I did too, but I think because I was like one of the tallest girls in my grade, like the first thing I do is Google a man I find attractive.
Yeah, he was like 5'8".
Yeah.
I think he's shorter than you.
So I think I was more, I liked Louis for sure, but I think my favorite was like Harry or Zayn.
I feel like that's what happened with a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. I think I slept on Zayn for a long time. And then as he started releasing his own music, I was like, this kind of slaps. And also, he's 6.
I don't know if this is like a hot take. I have listened to a lot of Harry and Louis and Niall's solo music. And then I was listening to One Direction after I did this video because now that I'm out of my like, I'm not like the other girls. I listen to rock music and I don't wear skirts and like, you know, now that I'm out of that, I can acknowledge to myself, oh, a lot of this is like good. These are fun songs.
Mm-hmm.
And my hot take is I like the album without Zayn on it the best. The last one. Yeah.
Maybe I need to give like 1D another shot, another listen.
Like the last album where they're older and like their voices have dropped.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really liked that one.
Yeah. And they have like more vocal experience.
Yeah.
probably more life experience too,
Yeah.
where they can actually write stuff that it's not just like, "See if you wanna go." Oh. Like, what were they talking about? I don't know. What makes me beautiful? Shit. Like, those were bops, I won't lie.
Yeah.
But what were they talking about?
I don't know.
Why were they always by one of those, like, red 2-level buses? Like, we get it. You're in New England. We get it. You're British.
But for those of you who wanted to know some of the lore, I found some of the like introductory stuff my last couple weeks on TikTok. For those of you who wanted One Direction lore, they were formed on the X Factor UK. You know the X Factor. It's like the voice singing competition. And they all auditioned and got eliminated solo and were reformed into a group. It was actually Liam's second time on the X Factor. The first time had been 2 years before. The interview I was talking about in the last episode that kind of got him in trouble a couple years ago, I actually found it. He's on Logan Paul's podcast, and he's like, yeah, One Direction was actually formed around me.
They stood there and picked us out, and they picked a girl by now at the same time. And from what I've heard is that, like, part of the reason One Direction was made was because of Simon's promise to me that in 2 years, I'll make this work for you.
Wow.
So he kind of started with my face and then worked around the rest. I've never told that story before.
You were the inception.
Which, without the context of seeing the X Factor, seems really narcissistic and stupid to say.
He was like the vocals of the group.
I didn't realize how much of it he was singing until I was listening to these back.
Yep.
He was the most like technically proficient.
Mm-hmm.
And when they were on the X Factor, he was kind of the center, the one in the middle, until they'd been going for a while, and like Harry kind of became the fan favorite.
Yeah.
And then they pivoted to like Harry being front and center all the time, which is how a lot of people remember them.
Niall reminds me of Ron Weasley from Harry Potter. Yeah, what were we on? Like, maybe it's just my adult, fully formed frontal cortex.
Well, this
brain.
is when they're like 15 years old. Once they get to be like 20, I kind of get it.
Look up One Direction 20 years old. Because I remember Harry started growing his hair out long to distract from his receding hairline. I said, honey.
Oh my God, I think he's wearing a toupee.
You think so?
Yeah. Have you seen it like flopping around on stage while he's dancing? It just doesn't look natural.
Just look, I don't know. I don't know about a toupee. Maybe like some clip-ins.
Not then, but now. I think he's definitely wearing a toupee.
I do remember watching, let's be honest. Okay, girl to girl here. Being on Vine.gov, I was watching Harry Styles' Thirst Trap edits.
I didn't have Vine. Everything I saw was on YouTube.
I was heavy on the 1D, even like 5 songs.
5 Seconds of Summer, yeah.
Yeah, even their group, which I never listened to their music, I would watch like fan edits of them. And then like K-pop groups, I would watch fan edits of them, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, like this is so good. But then I think I just started to realize I wanted to make videos, and it was less about like, oh, I'm really attracted to these men. It was more just like, wow, that's so cool. They're so like enchanting.
Oh, see, I never really had that. I didn't really consider men until I was like 15.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I think I didn't consider, I don't know when I like decided I'm attracted to men. I think it was like, I always had crushes on my guy friends, and I wanted them to think I was cool. So I would make like sex jokes I didn't even understand when I was in elementary school. Like I'd be like, hey, yo, boobs. And then they would laugh. Exactly. Crowd favorite. And then I'd like get in trouble for it, but I'd be like, at least I'm one of the guys. But then like, I think when it got to around middle school, I started liking guys that were just like really popular and very like masculine in a conventional sense. Like they were conventionally attractive, but I never really talked to them or like had any emotional connection to them. And I think that's around the time I started watching like Vines and stuff, because I was like, I like the way that men look, but I don't see them as people. Is that crazy?
No.
Because like I didn't have an older brother, and I've noticed some of my like girlfriends, they have older brothers or they just have brothers, and they treat other men as they're just people. And like, yeah, I have a father. That's a whole nother thing, because I'm like, okay, well, he's old. Like, I don't know how to talk to men my age.
I guess I kind of had a similar problem because I do have an older brother, but he's like twice my age, so it's not really the same thing.
Yeah. So like you get used to like talking to that age group of men, but then when it comes to like your age group, it's weird. And then you get people talking to you about like, oh my gosh, did you see like Jeremy? He looked at me. Do you think he likes me? And then you get introduced to that concept of like people having crushes. What is that? I just want to be people's friends.
I just didn't even really think about that until I was in high school. I'm not even gonna lie. And then I didn't even realize I liked a lot of people while I was in high school until after I graduated.
Did you ever have like a celebrity crush? Like, who was your 1D?
Who was my 1D? I don't know. I listen to bands. For anyone listening, you can go to the More Like This section of my podcast page on Spotify, and if you click on the playlist, it goes back to 7th grade. So you should be able to see kind of what I was doing at that time. I listened to a lot of like what would you call it? Like the emo music, but I didn't like find them attractive. You know what I mean? I just liked the instruments.
I'm just thinking about Panic at the Disco and Brendan Urie now. I had a huge crush on him.
I can't stand Brendan Urie.
I don't know anything about him now, but like when they were a fully formed group, he was such a good singer. And like that one, what is it? This Is Gospel, the piano, like acoustic version where there's just random shit starts falling on the piano and he gets like mustard in his hair, and I'm like, oh my God, to be that mustard right now, I would kill.
He has trashed his voice.
What's his lore? Let's get into that.
Brendan Urie?
Yeah, Brendan Urie. What's up with him? Why do people hate him?
Brendan Urie, I don't respect Brendan Urie because this was like, he was kind of a last minute addition to Panic at the Disco. Yeah, it was Ryan's band, the guitar player. And he was like, we need a stronger singer. I prefer Ryan's voice, honestly.
I'm such a fake fan.
It was Ryan's band. And then after the second album, because the second album was more like a psychedelic 60s-y Beatles type stuff. And Ryan was like, I actually want to keep doing this, because he was the one writing all the songs. And then Brendan was like, actually, no, I don't want to do that. So then Ryan and John split into one half, and Spencer and Brendan split into the other half. And they were both supposed to like become separate bands. But then Brendan backstabs Ryan and is like, actually, I'm going to stay Panic at the Disco without you.
So then he doesn't get the name recognition. He's just Ryan.
Yeah.
Ryan at the...
His band gets taken over.
Crying at the
and
Ryan.
Blows up without him. Pete Wentz from Fall Out Boy is the one that signed them. So he has to take Brendan's side because they're under his label. So he writes the next album.
Pete does?
Pete does.
Okay.
It's like mostly written by Pete, and a couple of them are like finished Ryan demos. That's another thing. He took demos for the band and finished them for him.
That's crazy. When did all of this come out? Was this like very public?
Oh, yeah.
13-year-old me did not do the investigative journalism I needed to.
13-year-old me did do the investigative journalism because 13-year-old me was on Ryan's side, and I'm still on Ryan's side.
No, I mean, by just what you said, like I would be too. He's definitely screwed over the rest of the guys, and probably just brought Spencer along because Spencer probably was like, okay, well, he's gonna get more of the attention because I mean, he's the face of Panic at the Disco. Like when you buy a sweatshirt of Panic at the Disco, most of the time it's just him or like the album cover, and then music videos, you see him.
There's one song on the album that comes out when it's just Spencer and Brendan, where the lyrics are like, they know and I know that they don't look like me. They don't sound like me. Basically like, I'm top bitch. This is my band. They can't do anything.
That's such a weird thing to do when you don't make the music. You just sing it.
Yeah.
Like, yes, without your voice, it's a different band, but you're not really bringing the talent. I mean, you're bringing the vocal talent, but guess what? We got AI now, so we don't need you anymore, Brendan. What kind of name is Brendan?
Stupid name. John
Stupid.
and Ryan were their own band called the Young Vanes, and they only put out one album, but personally, I really like it. It's more like the surf rock type of stuff, but it did not get nearly as famous as Vices and Virtues did under a major label.
Was that the one?
That's the brown one.
Really? With like the, I don't even know.
With the Mona Lisa song.
Yeah, okay. Brendan Urie. Well, Brendan Urie, an asshole.
So even though they didn't win the X Factor, they were kind of the fan favorites to win the X Factor, but they placed third.
Mm-hmm.
They signed with Simon Cowell and Psycho anyway. And like their small British fan base got like all of Britain behind them on Twitter. And then they just kind of blew up everywhere. It was weird. I was telling myself it was field research when I used my $12 at the movie theater to go to a rescreening of This Is Us, but I was actually just really curious.
Mm-hmm.
You can't conceptualize when you're 10 years old how famous that is.
Yeah.
Like, I knew it was a big deal, but I didn't know it was like that. And that was like crazy watching it in the movie theater. But they had a lot of problems when they were a band. Some of the main ones were obviously Zayn leaving.
Mm-hmm.
I know we just talked about, like, I don't think Zayn was not my favorite. I know Zayn, you're a Zayn supporter, but
I wouldn't say I'm a supporter. I'm just an appreciator. Because now you're going to tell me something about Zayn being an asshole and I'm going to hate him. But look at him. He looks good. And also, I think it's like something in my psychology, I guess, where I see someone in a successful relationship. Mind you, he was dating like Gigi Hadid for a long time. They have a kid together now. I'm like, okay, well, she's the tall bitch. So am I. I mean, when you're growing up and you have like these insecurities, when you see someone like Zayn Malik, who is very conventionally attractive to most girls or like to most people and is accepted as that, and then he goes and likes someone who's taller than him,
yeah, I
it
see what
catches
you're
your
saying.
attention. Yeah. Okay, tell me about him being an asshole.
So after he like left, he posted a picture with this one like producer that he had made a song with for the fourth album, that got rejected
Mm-hmm.
and wasn't put on the album. And it was like, replace this. And then Louis wrote, remember when you were 12 and used to think those Mac filters for your pictures were cool? Haha. Some people still do. And Zayn was like, remember when you had a life? And then they just started fighting.
Over Twitter?
Yes.
Okay.
And they like reportedly still do not talk. But I guess this producer like doubled down on I'm siding with Zayn and started fighting with the rest of the One Direction guys alongside Zayn online.
Okay.
Until ultimately Zayn like tweeted at him one day and was like, nobody even knows you.
He like starts Twitter fights a lot?
Yeah. Or he did in 2015.
He was just bored. We all get bored sometimes. Want to start a little bit of Twitter drama? I've never done that before, but like, I'm not above it. If I had Twitter, I also don't have Twitter.
And then there was a big section of the One Direction fan base that had a big problem with, how would you even describe this to somebody who's not always on the internet? Like, they genuinely believed that Louis and Harry Styles were dating.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there were so many of them, they had their own Wikipedia page.
Oh, yeah. I remember, okay, not to out myself. I was, reading the fan fictions.
I looked it up.
Vine edits. Like, I recall.
I looked it up. For those of you who don't know, Archive of Our Own is a fan fiction website.
Mm-hmm.
And Louis and Harry are the 10th most written about pairing of all time.
For fan fiction.
On Archive of Our Own, yeah. There are 44,685 Harry Styles and Louis Tomlinson stories on this one website. But the theory was like, I haven't seen, well, that's not true. I've seen a lot of it on TikTok over the last couple days since the Liam episode. But a lot of the evidence, there's too much like so-called air quotes evidence to even just make its own episode. There are a lot of things people cite where, maybe if you're thinking about it in the context of the conspiracy theory, like they were dating and forced into the closet by their management to uphold the straight boy band image, you could maybe see why they think that. But some of the stuff they cite is like, what are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
They're just really grabbing.
Yeah.
Reaching.
There's like a whole theory that Louis had this long-term girlfriend, Eleanor, and there was this whole thing about like, it's actually 3 actresses who were all playing Eleanor who were hired as a stunt. And then he like had a fling that he got pregnant toward the end of One Direction. And they were like, no, this kid's not even real. He's monogamous with Harry. This is a robot. This is a like doll. What are you saying?
Mm-hmm.
And there's people who like to this day still talk about how they're together. And I don't really want to get too into the conspiracy theories because they've both publicly talked about like, we literally aren't friends anymore because people are always talking about how we're in love with each other. We can't interact with each other without people freaking out.
Yeah.
And then just kind of circling back in the post One Direction era, Liam just wasn't wording things well. He didn't know how to talk about being in the band. I think the controversy was he was like, well, One Direction was about me. I was the one they wanted, even though he wasn't like, he was never the most popular member at any point. So people were like, you sound delusional right now.
Mm-hmm. R.I.P.
Well, hopefully this was a little bit, at least, more.
Honestly, what did you get me into? Because now I'm scared that even like 10 people listening to this that like 1D, anything I've said, just know I'm saying it out of ignorance. And well, you know, like there's been so much.
No, I know what you're saying.
There's been so much backlash with just how people have chosen to respond to it. Just want to put that out there.
I mean, to be fully fair to him, I don't know how they cut impulsive. I wonder if that's the correct context he said it in, or they just like cut it together like that.
I mean, to be honest, the clip that you showed me from the podcast wasn't even that bad.
Yeah.
He was just saying, Simon told me that I was like the honorary member.
But people like freaked out about it when it happened.
Probably because they feel some type of way about their bias, which I don't blame them. But like you showed me the photos where he's consistently in the middle toward the beginning of their band becoming a thing. And then it switched to Harry because he was the fan favorite.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the proof is in the pudding.
Hopefully this episode was a little more lighthearted than the last 2. Thanks for coming back, Pookies. Hope to see you next week. Bye.
Bye.